The glory of my Son Jesus equals 888 in all the earth. Amen. Every single roundabout on planet Earth. Roundabout equals the 32nd prime exactly. That's 888832. The term first contact, as in the first person to ever contact some new unexplored territory of God's creation or people. First contact equals 148 perfectly, which is a 3-digit all-factor 8 number, and one of the 16 factors of Jesus equals 888. Every single hormone in your body and every single person's body on planet Earth, the word hormone equals 88 exactly, starting with the letter 8. The most important part in any search engine is the index. Index equals 56 bang on the nose, which is a perfect 7-fold set of 8s, and it ends with the letter X, which is 24,888. So, the index is the most important part to Google. It's what drives Google and every single search engine on the planet. And it's also the most important thing you can have in any book. At the back, if you want to find whatever it is that you're looking for, you go to the index. So that word index, everywhere it occurs, brings mathematical glory to Jesus equals 888 in the highest level. Amen. The famous brand Calvin Klein adds perfectly to 112, a 3-digit all-factor 8 number that divides by 8 perfectly. And if you have Calvin Klein shoes or a pair of Calvin Klein socks or anything else that comes in pairs, well, then you have 112 doubled. A pair of Calvin Kleins equals 224, which is also a 3-digit all-factor 8 number that divides by 8 perfectly. So, Calvin Klein is one of the #1 brands in fashion. Fashion is 72, perfect 3x3 grid of 8s. And Calvin Klein is an excellent name to the glory of Jesus equals 888. 112, bang on the nose. And so everywhere you read the words Calvin Klein, you are reading the glory of Jesus equals 888. Amen. What was the world's first electronic stock market? NASDAQ, which equals 56 exactly. A perfect 7-fold set of 8s to the glory of Jesus equals 888. It was not only the world's first electronic stock market, but it was first opened on February the 8th. And it was also the first stock market in the United States to start trading online. NASDAQ covers the companies which are at the forefront of technological development, and it was the first stock market to be traded online and the first electronic stock market period in the world. What day of the month was it created on? Did it first begin? The 8th. February the 8th, 1971, NASDAQ opened by divine ordinance to the glory of Jesus equals 888. The most important part of any video project, whether digital, live action, cartoon, 2D, 3D, live, whatever it is the final rendering. Well, the word render, which is the first person verb root, adds perfectly to 64, 8 times 8. And in most video editing packages, that is the final button that the controller presses in order to spit out the ultimate product for the screens. Render. Click, render, go. Final. Render equals 64, 8 times 8 by divine ordinance to the glory of Jesus equals 888. So there is not one single computer graphics film, Hollywood film, digitally edited video film that has not been produced without someone clicking that render button and rendering the entire project to final copy for the screens. Amen. Everyone's favorite button on the internet, download, equals 88 exactly in 8 letters, bang on the nose, by divine ordinance for the glory of Jesus equals 888. And those 8 letters are bookended with 2 D's, which are 4 apiece, so making 8 perfectly in total. The first letter and the 8th letter are D. Together they make 8 perfectly. They are 8 letters in total for download, 88 in total. This is by divine ordinance for the glory of Jesus equals 888. There are probably more download buttons and links on the internet than any other key word in the universe, and that is by divine ordinance to the glory of Jesus equals 888. Amen. Which brings us to the man and ultimately the company that produced the very first commercially marketed self-scouring steel plow. And to this day, they are the leading manufacturer in farming equipment and it is none other than Mr. John Deere. John Deere, by divine ordinance, adds to 84, which is an all-factor 8 number. That is a perfect sevenfold set of 12s. Jesus equals 8 at 8 is 12 times the 12th prime doubled. He takes the glory for every single 12 in the universe, and here we have a sevenfold set of them in Mr. John Deere. 7 is the number of a set of like things. All shining stardom is Mr. 12, John Deere. And that name is emblazoned on more tractors and more seeders and harvesters and sprayers and farming equipment all over the world at higher levels of quality than anything ever before us, certainly in the history of the world, and it is all for the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. I encourage you to dig up even more gems in the story of John Deere. His father is 188 bang on the nose, which is a 3-digit all-factor 8 number. Together, John Deere plus father, father and son, which is 84 plus 188, adds perfectly to a multiple of 8. And he was even born in a year of an all-factor 8 number, 1804. And his last name Deere, all by itself, is 37, which is one of the 16 factors of Jesus equals 8 at 8. And of course, the actual animal that is emblazoned at the center of the logo is the deer, without an E on the end. That is 32, bang on the nose, 8 times 4. 4 8s, 8, 8, 8, 8 for the deer that is the logo. And of course, his name John. The root of the name John is Jehovah, which the root is 1688. Anyone and everyone who has ever been named John from the foundation of the world is taken for the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8, because Jesus is Jehovah and the root of the name John is Jehovah. So in every way, Jesus equals 8 at 8 takes the glory for every single John Deere tractor and piece of farming and agricultural equipment from sea to shining sea in every single continent of the earth where they find themselves by the millions all over the world, bringing glory to Jesus equals 8 at 8, actively being used by farmers right now as we speak by the thousands to harvest the food that you and I eat on a daily basis. And this is all by divine ordinance to the glory of the King, Jesus equals 8 at 8. Amen. Which leads us to one of the greatest names in toilet seat covers, and that is Bemis, which equals 48 exactly. 888 plus 888. 48 is 8 times 6. That's a pair of 888s. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. 888 doubled. Bemis equals 48, and that is written on those beloved seats wherein you sit down to attend to your basic needs. You may even have one in your house right now. The odds are quite good given the proliferation of Bemis products in all the earth. I encourage you to find out all the other products that Bemis is successfully making as the long-standing and prospered company that they are. But Bemis equals 48. So everywhere that text is written on all their products, it brings mathematical glory to the King. Jesus equals 8 at 8. And chances are you have sat down on one of their toilet seats at some point in your life, more likely hundreds if not thousands of times. Amen. Which brings us to everyone's favorite appliance manufacturer, Whirlpool. Worldwide, they are the #1 brand name in appliances, and they were one of the first manufacturers of the common household appliance as we know it today, in all the variety thereof that we have now. But they were the first in the top-load washing machine. Remember how exciting that was when that first came out? Whirlpool Corporation, no less. Well, Whirlpool divides by 8, being 56, perfect being 128, pardon me, a double of 56. 3-digit all-factor 8 number that divides by 8, not once but twice, and then doubled on top of that, 64 doubled, literally. So that's Whirlpool, so loaded mathematically. And then their full name, Corporation. Corporation is 144, 3-digit all-factor 8 number that divides by 8, 12, 24, perfectly to the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. So together, Whirlpool Corporation puts it out of the top and out of the park. They are the #1 mathematical name in appliances, and so fitting that their motto is every home, everywhere, with pride, passion, and performance. And that is basically the truth. There is scarcely a house in the majority of the developed nations that does not have a Whirlpool appliance in it somewhere. And yes, Just so happens that they have exactly 8 manufacturing facilities precisely in the U.S. Everything is by divine ordinance. That is for the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. And if you are alive and breathing and living in a developed nation, there is no way that you have not seen a Whirlpool appliance at some point in your lifetime. Everywhere you read that text, it is for the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. Amen. Now, an added bonus on the company Whirlpool, which is just through the roof in its breadth and its prosperity. What was its original name? Its original name was 1900 Corporation, which even better adds to 8 times the 8th prime doubled. That's the double of 152, which is 8 times the 8th prime. 8 times the 8th prime repeated, plus 8 times the 8th prime. That is the original name of Whirlpool Corporation to the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. And then if you take out the word corporation and just do the math on 1900, you get 160 perfectly, which is 8 doubled multiplied by 10 to just jack it through the roof on Mr. 8. So in every way, this company Whirlpool is just through the roof for the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. They have acquired far more companies than anyone basically in the entire universe throughout their history, because their name is the most mathematically pleasing name in business in practically the history of all appliances. So Whirlpool is number 1 because they bring the most mathematical glory to the owner and controller of every single atom in the universe, Jesus equals 8 at 8. Whirlpool, 128 bang on the nose. 1900, 160 bang on the nose. 1900 Corporation, 8 times the 8th prime doubled. Loaded, totally loaded. Their story, read their company history. They are acquiring everything in this universe at the speed of light. And they have several divisions. One is Whirlpool International, which adds to 280 perfectly. And they also have Whirlpool Canada, which adds to 8 times the 8th prime perfectly. In every way, so you see how important it is to pick a name that not only glorifies 8 in and of itself, but when it gets combined with common terms that it relates with or deals with, that those terms will also make multiples of 8 to maximize the glory of Jesus in all the universe. So I recommend going to your local store today and asking them